Okay, on today's video, we're going to talk about how to get more business customers or clients or patients or contacts, whatever you want to refer to it as, from your PPC campaigns that you're running right now from Google or Bing search advertising campaigns for your business. And so what I'm going to go over today on today's video is a method to be able to get more, a higher, out of the customers basically you have coming in. Not just to get business customers, which this also covers, but more specifically I'm speaking to you guys who can actually serve a home user, but you don't really want them and you're getting too many home users. You want businesses. If you just want businesses and if you get a home person, you can't serve them at all, this will also help you as well. Because I got information technically for both, but it's more so for, I made this video because it's common that people, they want more business customers, they spend more money, but they don't have no actual plan to do it. And so I'm going to tell you my plan of how I go after those big whale business customers. And so you have a higher percentage of them coming in. And overall, just get more out of PPC in your market. Because basically speaking, these techniques I'm going to give you are very outside the box for most people in terms of what they would consider outside the box. The normal, everyday, average Joe PPC manager who's setting it up for himself, or even a low-end, crappy PPC firm. What they're going to be doing, and that the low-hanging fruit there, so there's an arbitrage opportunity for you to make abnormal returns from little effort and with little money invested. So that's what I'm about here on this channel. So I want to give you my strategy and my secrets regarding this. I'm also going to give you some examples, as I usually do on my videos, about different companies where I applied this and how it worked for them. And so you can take away not only the advice I give you on how to do it, but in terms of how to implement it for your exact business type, given this works for product sellers and service sellers alike here, okay? And people who can only do business-to-business sales as well, as I talked about briefly just a minute ago. I'm going to talk about that as well. So whether you serve B2B and B2C and you just want more B2B, or you just need B2B, this method will work for you to make more money. It's easy to do, and it is quite profitable. So anyway, let's get into it. So I need more business customers for my PPC campaigns. Here is the method. The motivation for more business customers for most people is bigger ticket size. They're spending more money, of course. But on top of that, you got people that repeat purchase. You got regular ongoing business coming in. That money's coming in every month or every few months from that person. It's more advantageous to you to go after a business customer than a regular consumer for that reason. And then if you also take this one step further, a lot of people don't think about this as well, but you get higher margins from those business customers, assuming you serve business and individual consumers as well, because frankly, once you've done business with somebody one time and they're reordering, there's less customer service, there's less returns, there's less dealing with the customer in general. And so the margins are higher because there's less customer service involved in servicing those customers. So not only are they repeat purchasing, but each repeat purchase has maybe twice the margins as dealing with somebody for the first time in terms of all the questions before they order, and then after all the questions, and then the potential for returns and complaints and misaligned expectations, on and on. So you get the point. So for a number of different reasons, these methods are, if you're not doing it now, even if you're making money, you should be doing it, because this will make you even more, basically, a lot more. So anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to get into the methodology that I use here on our clients' campaigns that we manage. Where do most of the people go wrong? In terms of wanting more business customers, it's not going to just materialize out of thin air. We got to do something very deliberate to be able to get more. Of course, we'll get lucky if we don't have a plan, but this is about extracting as many possible business customers as we can without, with minimal effort, if you will. So number one, the thing that people do wrong is they don't realize that they should be paying very different prices to get those type of customers. They have different values, so there's different prices. Google is an auction system. So respectively, sometimes some of these things I'm going to tell you, nobody's after it, so you're going to pay same prices as you're getting an individual consumer, but they're spending 10 times more, and you'll hit the jackpot. But more so, the most of your competitors aren't that dumb, if you will, and they'll realize that the business customers are more lucrative and they're willing to go after them a little bit more aggressively. Well, in general, if you're talking about a business customer like that, like I talked about before, repeat purchases and all that, versus an end consumer, a person, an individual that's going to buy one time, you're going to be paying triple the price to generate a lead or generate a sale for that business customer versus an individual end user or consumer non-business. 3 times the price, however, the revenue is 10 times greater when you factor in all these different things I mentioned here before. So it's worth it, and the reason why it's 10 times more for 3 times the price, because so many people, what happens is they got so much ad budget, they give it to their ad person, they're measuring based upon how many leads or sales they're making. They're not and to look good to the client, they show a report. They want to show a report that has the most conversions as possible. They don't give a damn if they're giving you conversions that have less value down the road. I don't get credit for that. So then they load up on the lowest value sales or conversions they can, and then they may know how to do something to get more business customers, but they don't care. And it's also going to take more effort, but also they're not going to get credit for it. So most agencies want to do it as little as they can to keep the client happy, because that's going to make them the most money. In reality, you should be doing the things I'm going to tell you here as the next part of this video. But respectively with that, if you don't believe me, here's what I always recommend anyway that you do before you go into doing this just for yourself, so you don't end up. Last thing you want to do is sit there and scratch your head once you've done all this and say, I don't know if this is working or not. You want to know going in exactly what you basically need, okay? The way you do that is you go into your books and you look at what a business customer is lifetime value-wise from all their purchases versus an individual consumer when they buy once. You find out what the ratio is there. And from that ratio, if you're generating leads, you can figure out how many leads you need to generate a sale for a business customer versus an individual consumer, or in general, just generate the sale, and then what the value is. And now you know, respectively, how much more you can pay for that customer. Now, one thing I'm going to recommend that you do is go back 3 years in your books, do the hard work, unless you don't give a crap and you're going to take my word for it. Find out how much the business customers you can pay more for it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use these strategies, and you're going to automatically, once they're started, be willing to pay more, a certain percentage more based upon the homework you just did. But going one step further, once you start doing this stuff, and because you're going to get a lot more business customers, and you want to be able to be in position to extract the absolute maximum amount that you can from them, which is some point which you can pay like a per click, where you're getting the maximum value, but when you pay a little bit more, it's not worth it. But if you pay less, you're just not getting as much out of it as you can. You do that by, if you're generating leads and you have, or if normally you have an e-commerce site, but a business customer is going to a lot of times contact you or call you first. Get yourself a CRM set up to track your leads that come in that are not traditional, just where they don't communicate with you at all during the sales process. And then with your CRM, make sure that the keyword and the fact that it came from a PPC campaign going with your lead record when it's generated, you can have it automatically piped into your CRM by adjusting the form and adding hidden form fields. And then after a year of doing this or 3 months of doing this, you can run a report, and it will tell you what the value is of all your customers that came from PPC on all those leads. Okay, then you can see, compared to your books and compared to the new strategies you have, is what you determined what you were getting before in terms of what a business customer was worth, is what it is now. And then you may adjust what you're paying for a business customer, but with that kind of information, you feel very confident paying 3 times as much, 4 times as much, 5 times as much for a business prospect coming to your site than an individual consumer, which a lot of times it is. As the last thing about that, once you got your data in your CRM, you can do what is called offline conversion tracking, which is taking the data from your CRM, or if you don't have a CRM, you can do it manually. And I have a video about offline conversion tracking that explains this process. But essentially, you could take that data from your CRM about who purchased and how much they spent. You could put that back into your ad account through offline conversion tracking and offline conversion upload is what it's called in Google Ads specifically. Bing offers the same thing. And then right there next to each keyword and each device inside your account and so on and so forth, it'll tell you how much revenue you produced. And so when you see your campaign that you created here that I'm telling you to create, and you compare it to your other campaigns that mostly get, individual consumers, but some business customers, you'll be able to see what the ratio of revenue is compared to the other old campaigns you have, and then also you'll be able to use that to identify how much more you should be bidding up the business, cut the new campaigns that you set up here to get business customers more exclusively or just exclusively, so you get the most out of the campaign that your ad. It's not, PPC is never about do I show or do I not. The more you spend, of course, the better of job you do as well, but respectively, all things the same, the more you do spend, the more what they call impression share you'll get, the more times that you're eligible to have your ad show up on the top of Google, and therefore you get more action. So there's a sweet spot where I can pay 3.5 times what these other campaigns produces here, and then it's still worth it for me. I'm still making the same profit margin, and then with that I'll be able to get 3 times as many business customers as if I were not paying 3 times as much for those clicks, if you get my drift there. But respectively, going in, you should know if you're generating leads what you should pay per lead, and use that to guide your bidding in your account so that you know how much more to bid for these business customers, since you're usually not going to get free lunch and get lucky most of the time because your other competitors have caught on that these business customers are worth more. But also do the revenue import into your ad account. So eventually when you get enough revenue, then you really, really know what you should be spending for those business customers from the new campaigns I'm mentioning to set up here for yourself. And you'll really not have anything to worry about. And you'll really get the most out of these campaigns that you're going to spend time and trouble and effort setting up for yourself. It's not difficult, but if you're going to do something, might as well get the full value from it. So anyway, what's the method that I use to be able to get the business customer? So there's a few things here, all of which basically 90% of this comes from keyword selection. So you're going to set up a campaign. If you sell a product, then respectively, I'm going to create a campaign that has keywords in it that I can find with supplier, vendor, distributor, drop shipper, stuff like that. Why? Because people that are obviously wanting to resell what you have, which is a great prospect in and itself, you'll generate a ton more if you have a custom ad for those people. Come sell our products, or distributor sign up form or on your ad, and then they take them to a page, and it's a custom page to become a vendor. You're going to get 10 times more signups doing that than if you didn't have this covering all these keywords. I know I've done this before. In the we had a radiation protection product company that did that. They were generating about 20 different leads a month just from people wanting to sell their products, whereas before it was like 5. So it gives you kind of an idea how much this actually can do for you. If you have a service, it could be reseller or white label programs, stuff like that as well. So you just have to find the equivalents. I didn't write all the ones down for services, but it works the same way for services as well. Anyway, moving on. So that's one campaign by itself. You custom ad, custom keywords, custom landing page. You do the same thing for this next category, which is going to go in another separate campaign. You're going to target keywords with bulk, quantity discount, etc. on it if you sell products. And with that, like the candy supplier, they a good half or more of their business already was selling to bulk candy to people that sell it at their stores or whatever. And with that, though, we pulled out the thesaurus, and we found every word that would refer to somebody buying in bulk as we can, and then we added those to their keywords, and then we ran a test campaign to see what we would be eligible to be advertised on or bid on in our Google Ads account, because if it doesn't have so much volume, you can't bid on it. But it was like Reese's peanut butter cup in quantity, and then we test that. If it doesn't work, then maybe just Reese's peanut butter cup in bulk, or Reese's peanut butter cup in quantity discount. You get the idea. So you come up with those, and so if you're that's obviously specifically applies to your product business. And so I did that with the candy supplier. That basically more than doubled the amount of sales that they were getting from their PPC account. Because why? Because they didn't necessarily double the top line sales, but they got the juicy people that are going to order again and again and again and again. They maximized it. So worked fantastically well for that candy supplier. Also with that, they took effort, which I suggest this to everybody as well, when you're getting a lot of these business leads coming in because you are executing on this the way that I said, you have a custom ad that's set up for this. So it tells them, we offer quantity discounts on Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. So they're clicking on your ad. They're not clicking on anything else at that point. You can send them to a page that has a table that says if you buy 1, it's this, 10, it's this. If you have it that normally on your site, that's fine, which they did. But if we didn't, that ad should go definitely to a page where we have a table like that, because you're going to, one customer could make the difference. One customer could be 50 grand worth of lifetime value business. So we want to do everything we can with it. And when I convinced them, though, specifically with this, when they got a lead in like that, that they assigned it, they had a CRM system, and they assigned it to somebody who handled the people that look like they would be the whale $50,000 value customers. They have a dedicated account, which they contact them every month, ask them what they need. Do they need, you need this, this, and this. So they didn't even have to go through the site and screw around. It was like, hey, what do you need? Do you need this, this, and this? Okay, we'll bill your card, we'll ship it to you. Save time. Also, just let the person know about the trends, like what candies are new and hot, what you should try in your store, that kind of thing. So it goes a long way if you're going to provide the white glove service to the best of the best business leads. If you're going to do all this, you want to take it one step further. Obviously you can't offer it to anybody, but you could figure out somehow, look at all your best customers, see all the traits they have. They're at companies with at least 100 employees, okay, and they're the facility, the purchasing manager, okay. Well, when those leads come in, we're handing it over to Jenna that's going to talk to this person and follow up with them every month. Because why? Because we know we're going to make a heck of a lot more money if we do that. So anyway, that's another campaign you would run. Moving forward, the next one is keywords that you're going to create a campaign that contain industry jargon. So there's certain ways that businesses refer to what you sell that's no end user or non-business is even going to know or want to use, but also don't even know how to search for. So there's not even a mistake that can be made. That's where you really want to focus as well. Example for the drug testing company. A business searches for a drug testing company when they're looking for a drug testing company, but when they search for on-site drug testing company, then, drug testing service versus on-site drug testing company, the person is very clear or unambiguous what that person wants at that point. So with that, you figure out all the individual jargon that people type in, DOT approved, testing. I'm specifically talking about stuff here that only a business would know how to use. It's like a key in the door. They only know how to search for this, and so we're going to figure out all the ways that the end consumer doesn't know how to search for, and we're going to just focus on this. And with this, we're going to send them again. So it's going to be a custom ad that says we offer on-site drug testing. We specialize in off-site drug testing. Even though you may not specialize at it, you're going to say you are, so you'll get the click no matter what. You get a super high click-through rate and a low cost per click that way. And then you're going to send them to a landing page that offers the on-site, as a custom landing page just for this service. Because that person, you're going to be making 20 grand on this customer versus $100 on somebody else who's just getting a drug test for themselves to make sure they're not going to piss dirty at their job the next day because they smoked some marijuana last week when they're searching for drug testing service a lot of times. Then you're going to do everything you can. You're going to make a custom landing page. And of course, I would also go one step further with them. You get a lead like that, it immediately goes to your high-powered salesperson. All your business leads, all your regular leads goes to the general person. Any of the whales like that, when you get one from specifically the one that types that in and a few other high-profile keywords that only super high-end businesses that you want do, it's going to somebody else when they call. and have a different number for that, or just have somebody trained to forward it on to you or whatever to close it. It's because it's worth it to do on a $20,000 sale. In the situation with the boiler company, so they did boiler sales, boiler rental, and they don't do individual consumer stuff. So if somebody's doing that for a boiler that they have at their old house or something like that, it's just a wasted click. So what we did was I just simply suggested, let's go after, they have to type in boiler sales or boiler something, but also always had to have the word industrial or commercial in it for it to work. And that actually made the campaign, where it wasn't profitable before when they came in, it was super profitable afterwards. So if you're in a situation where you can't take any B2C or in consumer leads, that's what really could potentially help you out. You tack that on to everything. Some of this stuff, if you want more business customers, and because those are probably the most profitable thing you can do, I'm simply going to tell you the first thing you should be doing versus spending money on anything else is getting all these business customers, because they're the most profitable, truly. For 90% of businesses, the business customers are going to be the most profitable because people aren't going to go all the way like I'm showing you here. And if you will, they will be more profitable, way more profitable than anybody else. So if you have limited ad spend to make work, you do the business campaigns as I'm describing here first. Once you've tapped out on it, then you can go after the other stuff where they may be a business customer, they may be not. And then at that point, you simply are just going to pay less for those people because they're worth less. But you're not going to spend your starting $3,000 a month on just anything random. You're going to go after the low-hanging fruit, which is the business customers that can spend a lot. Then when money's flowing in, you'll go after all the other stuff. You'll test running it. It'll be less productive, but you can spend less for that, and you'll also get that too. As far as the last campaign here I'm going to talk about, you're going to have keywords that contain stuff like apartment, office, school, industrial, commercial. I talked about those two already, and business. So, and then for the environmental testing company, I forgot to write it on here. I had it on my sheet earlier. So we had an environmental testing company that they did like asbestos testing and VOCs testing and stuff like that, and air testing. They also did material testing. So maybe you have lead, something like that. And that could be done for an individual home or end consumer. It could also be done for a business. Well, the business customers are where the real cheddar is, okay? So this person wanted that, but it was the same thing I told you at the start of the video. The previous bonehead who set up the campaigns, they didn't actually try to go after to get all the business customers they could first, when that's what makes the most sense on a limited budget until you've got everything you can from that. So in that particular case, I just made sure I pulled up the thesaurus again, and I know it by now, but you will pull up the thesaurus. You'll find out every way that somebody can refer to something as a business. Sometimes they'll just say business, but sometimes they'll say office or school or apartment. There's a lot of different ways you can refer to something that's not an end consumer. And you tack that on to each of your keywords. Apartment, asbestos testing. School, asbestos testing. And you're going to see what's eligible to run in your account, and then whatever is, you're going to run. And that's going to be all you run until you've extracted everything you can from that if you're in that business, because it's the smartest thing to do in your market. Then you're going to go after people who are that are searching for asbestos testing. That may be a business customer, but probably not. And even with that, just a side note about that, somebody that types in asbestos assessment is more likely a business customer than asbestos testing. Just one thing we learned in that market. And so when you do go after the terms that don't have business in it, then you go after terms that are more likely to be a business customer at that point in time. And then you go down the list until you're going after the stuff that's really a toss-up, probably an end consumer. You're doing less of that. You might be spoiled at that point. Then you'll bid a little bit for that other traffic where they're not specifying they're looking for a business, or probably not, and you're taking what you can get, like I said before. So the last kind of example I didn't go over here on the list here was a mailbox seller. Now, and I also didn't create a campaign for this, but I just wanted to tell you that there's a luxury mailbox seller. They make the mailbox. They were going direct to market with their website, and the keywords that were like mailbox for new construction, and stuff related to new construction, that was extremely profitable. Why? Because there's home builders that, they stamp out houses in certain communities where they whole rows of houses. I forgot exactly what they call that, but basically build you a house on contract, and that's all they do. Well, they wanted to put the mailbox as an option in their catalog, and that happened multiple times because we have now people coming in that we noticed that it was profitable. Then we went further and went after all the mailbox plus new construction, all those keywords to really nail it down. And that was not huge volume, but whatever volume it brought in, it crushed it, and it did before. And anybody that came in, you can make 200 grand on one lead, if you will, versus the average mailbox selling for like $1,000 or something. So it's about doubling or tripling what is your most productive your clientele or customer. It's not about only doing that. It's just, why not do this first, like I said a few times on this video. So anyway, that's another example of kind of what to give you some ideas you may want to do. So I went through drug testing, candy supplier, radiation protection products, the boiler sales, mailbox seller. In the case with the new construction, you're sending them, by the way, to a landing page that just talks about new construction and the deals that we've worked with other home builders, because it's 200 grand worth of value from a sale or somebody who picks us up and adds us to their catalog, like I said. So all of these should have their own unique ad and landing page experience just to do it and really get if you want the 10 times revenue for 10 times more value per customer or should say 10 times revenue and 10 times profit than other customers that you're targeting that are not your keywords that you have now, you want to make 10 times more. Well, I can only assure that to you basically if you go ahead and do the landing page as well, the ad and the landing page. If you want to make 10 times more profit than you're making now, at least from what you're doing now, which is not super specific like I talked about here, to the super specific stuff that goes after businesses exclusively, then because that's the way that I do it, because there's not a lot of traffic, we'll want to suck up everything we can. It will be 10 times more profitable, generally speaking. All of these on the list, I know I've made 10 times more from the average customer that came in from the other keywords that when I first started working with the client had in their account by the average ad agency that they were working with or what they set up themselves internally at their company here. So the radiation protection company, products company, they also, by the way, had somebody that had enough leads that came in that they had a specialized person just to work those leads coming in for people who wanted to sell the product at their company. And you got 20 leads coming in a month. You got people selling it all over the place as an affiliate or as somebody doing drop shipping or actually outright buying the products. Then that turned into a whole side kind of thing, revenue stream, if you will, from the whole campaign on top of everything else. So anyway, I think I covered everything. If you like this video, I have a ton of other videos about other PPC strategies, money-making PPC strategies on this channel. You should check them out if you haven't yet before. Apart from that, I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how I build my campaigns. Stuff like I talked to you about on today's video. If you like that, you should check that out potentially as well. If you have any questions or comments, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment or question on this channel within a day or two. And hope you enjoyed the video and it inspired you to do this for yourself and actually pick up a little bit more revenue from your campaigns, or a lot more revenue than you have going on right now.